Now, it may look to you as though I'm sat in a standard economy class seat with a funny pair of goggles on my face, but what I'm seeing right here is a luxurious first class cabin where I've got a virtual cinema screen in front of me. Here to tell me more about why this may be the future of air travel. Not only a good for passenger experience thing, but also really good for the airlines, is Tim from IATA. Tim, thank you very much for inviting me into what suddenly turned into an economy class cabin again. Tell me about in-flight VR first of all, and about where that fits in the bigger picture beyond core passenger experience.
Yeah, so In-Flight VR is a young startup company that we have decided to partner with from an IATA perspective. They have come across with this technology, which has been around for a few years, and we have been leveraging it in other areas such as training and so on. We think, as you just experienced yourself, for passenger experience, it could be a game changer, right? It takes you out of that maybe somewhat narrow economy cabin, puts you in a nicer environment, you forget where you are, and you can spend a couple hours in that different world, and then you have arrived at your destination. It's a different experience that passengers have had so far. Sure. What is more interesting is maybe the longer term vision for that is these things get smaller and smaller and lighter, and we're talking about maybe 250 grams right now. If you look at a traditional in-flight entertainment setup with cables and screens and wires and boxes, you're talking about several kilos per seat. So obviously the weight, the fuel consumption, the aircraft performance, the environmental impact, these are all really, really interesting factors, which is why we think this could be a game-changing technology for the industry.
Yeah, of course, in the airline industry where weight and time are big money factors. The amount of money you could shave, the amount of weight you can shave off an airline, plus the amount of maintenance time, when those, in-seat displays do fail, which unfortunately they do. This is a real saver. I have to say, just going back to this in-flight VR system, I try a lot of virtual reality headsets as part of my job. This one's really good. This is really tight technology. The display in there, it was very high definition with very little lag, and this does feel like it's one of the few systems that I could wear for a couple of hours without starting to get all uncomfortable with it.
Well, let me put it this way. We've been working with them for a year and a half, almost 2 years. Every time we meet, they come up with a new device. There's so fast innovation cycles in this area. It was a year and a half ago, you still had to put your phone in, the resolution wasn't as great, it was much heavier, and I'm sure in 3 months' time we're going to find this one outdated. So there's a very fast, series of innovations coming. But this is really the generation where we think now it's at a quality where it's, comparable to your full HD viewing experience. You can do some city tours, etc. You will literally feel you are in that city right now, surrounded by real people.
But I guess we are reaching a point where these days many passengers, when they board a flight, are bringing in their own devices, aren't they? Whether it's probably less often a virtual reality headset, but it might be a tablet that's preloaded with their own content, or there might be a streaming video on demand server on board that allows passengers to enjoy a selection of films on there.
There is, certainly. There's all sorts of different approaches to in-flight entertainment, and at this show there's various suppliers obviously that focus on, Wi-Fi enabled aircraft, and content will be provided and you can use your own device. We think there will be more and more VR devices around as well. From a cabin safety perspective, because we're also the trade association for the industry, we might find it a little worrying if people start bringing their own VR devices, because we feel the crew needs to be able to communicate with the passengers. So we are generally perhaps a little more comfortable if the devices are airline controlled, because there is all sorts of technology in there that allows the crew to communicate with the passengers. So think, for example, if oxygen masks drop in case of an emergency, you need to be able to tell people to disable the devices. You can turn the camera on here so that they see the cabin, what's going on in front of them. That is very important. And if you have 50 passengers that bring their own VR device, you can just not have the crew walk around and tap everyone on the shoulder and tell them what's going on.
So you really do see a future where devices like this will provide entertainment for the majority of passengers?
I think so. Yes. I mean, we need the airlines to adopt the technology, but I'm sure the passengers will drive it, and the passengers will want it. We now have the first 4 or 5 airlines that have gone operational with this product.
Have they really?
Yes. So it is in service, and the business models are different. So some airlines use it to just enhance the experience for their premium passengers, and they give it out for free. Other airlines, they want to make money with it, so they will charge you $10 for a flight, and people rent it out. Both options seem to work very well, and we think there's going to be a strong adoption coming in the next year or so.
Tim, really, really interesting stuff. Thank you very, very much indeed for letting me sit down in my economy class seat, which is very quickly going to turn back into a business or first class seat. Thank you very much, Tim.